This is Ethan Griggs, and this is the end of 2025. So here's my top 10 films for 2025. First up, though, we'll discuss the honorable mentions. There is Lynne Ramsay's Die My Love, starring Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson. The reason why this one didn't make the top 10, I'm not sure if this was a great movie, and I'm a huge Lynne Ramsay fan, but I don't know if this is a great movie or if I just enjoyed seeing Jennifer Lawrence naked in this film. And, it's one of those films that it's an honorable mention because there's a lot of stuff going on in the film, and I don't really know. It had to take multiple viewings for me to really give that one an accurate rating. Also, Zach Cregger's Weapons. I this one almost got in the top 10 because he did stuff in that movie that I haven't really seen done in fucking over a century of horror films. And of course, Josh Brolin was exceptional in the film, and one of the very rare kid performances that isn't fucking annoying as hell. And then Regretting You, directed by Josh Boone. This one was a huge surprise for me because I usually don't go see shit like this. I usually don't enjoy shit like this, but that fucking Allison Williams is steadily becoming one of my favorite actresses. And this is a film like Josh Boone, of course. He also directed The Fault in Our Stars. He's really good at doing this type of tearjerker, weepy type film that's an emotional roller coaster, so to speak. And everybody in the film was exceptional. It's definitely a film that'll make you feel every single emotion, even if it is maybe cheap popcorn fare. But if you don't cry, you may be an asshole. And then Blue Moon, directed by Richard Linklater, one of the two great films that he did. His other film made the top 10. As much as I wanted to, I didn't think, to have two films by the same director be in the top 10. But Ethan Hawke's performance, definitely the best I've ever seen him do, and one of the greatest performances of the year. Honestly, if he doesn't at least get nominated for the Oscar, then it's a fucking crime. Honestly, he really deserves to win because I've never seen, Richard Linklater is the only director that can really get a great performance out of Ethan Hawke, and it is one heartbreaking performance, and it's a beautiful film, and you showed me a world that I didn't really know much about. I don't know shit about Broadway songwriters and stuff. Ethan Hawke plays Lorenz Hart, the songwriter that worked with Hammerstein or Richard Rogers, one of those. It was Rogers, yeah, I don't know. I don't know shit about Broadway, but Linklater taught me a lot with that one. So let's get on down to the main event, the top 10 of 2025. We're going to start with number 10, and that is James Gunn's Superman. This is hands down the greatest comic book movie to come out in 2025. James Gunn seems to be the guy to really like whip DC's cinematic universe in line. Marvel kind of kicked him out, and he basically did what he did with the Suicide Squad. He makes this a fun movie. This is like might be the best Superman movie, and a lot of people talk shit because that the guy that plays Superman, David Cronin Sweat, seems kind of lame, but he's playing Superman the way that it should be played. He's doing a solid Superman. It's definitely one for the modern age. But what's even cooler about this movie is that the side characters are even more interesting than Superman. Like Rachel Brosnahan really crushed as Lois Lane, Wendell Pierce as Perry White, but the real shining star of Superman, and this dude ought to get a fucking at least a nomination, if not the win. But Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, hands down the greatest Lex Luthor, even better than Jesse Eisenberg in Batman versus Superman, and even the late great Gene Hackman in the fucking Christopher Reeves films. This motherfucker like steals the show every scene that he's in. And of course, Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner was great, and we got an excellent Mr. Terrific. There's not a single complaint with this movie. This is some of the most fun that I had in the theaters, and really what comic book movies are supposed to be about, especially Superman movies. And for somebody that didn't give a fuck about Superman to really enjoy this film, that's a fucking feat. So shout out to James Gunn. That's number 10. Number 9, we have East of Wall, directed by Kate Beecroft. Now this is the only time in my life that I've seen cinema verite done to perfection. The film centers around real life people like Tabitha Zeminga, and dude, she probably has the best tits in Hollywood right now. And honestly, they need to do a remake of The Horse Whisperer with her playing the Robert Redford part and get some whatever fuck ass dude they can put against, put up with her. But this movie is pure perfection because, like, where Tabitha Zeminga, she may not be a great actor, but what Kate Beecroft did was she got to know these people, she got to know this world, and she not only made a real ass movie, but she made an entertaining one, and one that's definitely an emotional roller coaster that just really like gets to you, and that's powerful, it's beautiful, and just to see Tabitha Zaminga do her thing when she's with the horses, there's not an actor in the world that can fucking imitate that. Number 8, Nouvelle Vague, directed by Richard Linklater. Now, this film is another one. What's ironic about this one is you got a motherfucker from Houston, Texas boy, that doesn't speak a lick of French and made the greatest French New Wave film of all time. The film centers around the making of Jean-Luc Godard's debut feature film, Breathless. And the guy that they got to play Godard, again, I'm going to mispronounce this shit, Guillaume Marbeck, that motherfucker not only looked like Godard, he fucking sounded like Godard. He was saying some of the most pretentious shit, but the motherfucker was up there preaching and, shot entirely in black and white. It's all in French. Zoe Deutsch, or whatever the fuck you say her name. Perfect as Gene Seberg. I forget the guy that, I don't know the guy's name that plays Jean-Paul Belmondo, but every single person in this film perfectly cast. And like, this is a world I know. I don't know shit about Broadway or anything, but I do know the French New Wave and French cinema. And this was a fucking delight to see. Like, I was geeking out the whole fucking time because, like I said, I know that world. I fucking live that world of the French New Wave, and this is just pure fucking brilliance. I swear to you, I was up in the theater applauding my ass off. Linklater probably couldn't hear it, but motherfucker gave us 2 great films. One got an honorable mention, and number 8, Nouvelle Vague. And we move on to number 7, Oh Hi, directed by Sophie Brooks. And this film is one of the funniest, most raw, honest films I've seen in a long time. The fucking Molly Gordon played crazy like I've never seen a woman play crazy. It's crazy for the modern age. This ain't, Gina Rowlands and Woman Under the Influence, but good God. And that fucking Logan Lerman dude, he played a fucking douche to the hilt. And, she's got him tied up. And, it's a real honest film about relationships and how people like to play games and don't really want to just admit what a date is or some shit. And they string these women along and eventually you end up chained to the bed and a woman trying to force you to love her. This laugh a minute. And of course, it's got the lovely Geraldine Viswanathan. I probably mispronounced that name. Lovely name for an even lovelier woman. Number 6, we have Companion, directed by Drew Hancock. And this is another modern film about relationships. And it's basically picks up where Ex Machina left off, where now you have these androids that are fucking just companions, sex robots that you can have a relationship with. And Sophie Thatcher gives one of the greatest robot performances of all time. Now, the thing about this film, the trailers made this film look dumb as hell, but it was fucking, it blew my mind. They do shit in that movie that is just fucking insane. And of course, Jack Quaid, a way better actor than his mother and father combined, just saying. And of course, his parents are Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan, and this motherfucker played douche to the hilt. Definitely watch Companion. If you love good sci-fi fucking with twist on twist on twist, Companion is the film for you. Number 5, we have Sinners, directed by Ryan Coogler. And this film is a fucking vampire movie disguised as a music appreciation, or let me rephrase it. It's a music appreciation film disguised as a vampire film. There are sequences in this film, a lot of people tend to talk shit about this movie, but the thing about it is Ryan Coogler is a director, the only director that can really get a performance out of Michael B. Jordan. And here you get double the Michael B. Jordan. And everybody in this film is exceptional. Like Delroy Lindo, what an amazing performance. They need to give that man the Oscar just for fucking him over with the Five Bloods. And and that sequence with the musical sequence in the club where it's just kind of the history of the kickback, past, present, and future. Chef's kiss. Just a fucking movie that was tailor-made for the theater. Action, adventure, thrills out the wazoo. Number 4, we have The Phoenician Scheme, directed by Wes Anderson. Wes Anderson, this is probably his best movie. One of the 2 great Benicio del Toro performances of this year. His other film, The Other Anderson, we'll get to that in a minute. but he is just by and large one of like greatest actors, and he gives one of the most incredible performances. And Michael Cera is amazing in it. Mia Therapleton, just simply, this is pure Wes Anderson, kind of a return to form. Probably his best film he's done since The Grand Budapest Hotel. Number 3, we have Honey Don't, directed by Ethan Coen and starring the lovely Margaret Qualley, who's also steadily becoming one of my favorite actresses. And this is like pure like lesbian film noir, kind of taking further what he did with Drive Away Dolls, and everybody in the cast is exceptional. Chris Evans is a fucking corrupt drug dealing evangelist. Charlie Day is a sassy detective. What more could you ask for? I just know now that Ethan Coen was the real brains behind the Coen brothers. Number 2, we have Bugonia, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, starring Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons, who fucking knocked this shit out of the park. Like Jesse Plemons, Meth Damon, one of the most insane actors. Like that dude has an intensity that you wouldn't expect from a dumpy ass looking motherfucker like this. But that dude can bring the motherfucking ruckus. And this film has an ending that will blow your fucking mind. Like, honestly, Yorgos Lanthimos is the closest thing that we have to Stanley Kubrick, and motherfucker might be better than Kubrick. Bugonia is definitely one that proves it. And number 1, the greatest film, in my opinion, of 2025, the only film I saw more than once in theaters, I saw it twice, that is Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another, starring the incredible Leonardo DiCaprio, who gives one of the funniest, most honest performances I've ever seen in a film. The cast is just loaded with hitters. Like Sean Penn is a fucking psycho soldier. Benicio del Toro is exceptional in this, and the lovely Tiana Taylor. And I forget the name of the woman that played his daughter. She's exceptional in the fucking film too. Chase Infinity. Chase Infinity is just incredible in this, and of course Regina Hall needs to get the Academy Award for this too, because and honestly, if One Battle After Another does not sweep the Oscars, that would just prove that the Oscars fucking suck, trash, garbage. This is a film that is just, it's honest and funny, and because there's the physical comedy that DiCaprio does in this movie is just batshit crazy, and it makes you think. It has a lot of social commentary in it, but the most important thing is it's fucking entertaining. And Paul Thomas Anderson, probably the greatest director still going right now. Every film that man makes not only pushes the medium further, but pushes like the thoughts of society and where that shit should go. So that has been my top 10 for 2025. I mean, it was kind of a mid-year, but there were at least 10 movies that I thought were great, as well as, 4 honorable mentions. And one that I think I forgot, One of Them Days, probably the funniest movie that I've seen. Basically, the Female Friday with Keke Palmer and Scissor. And that shit is fucking great, too. So check that one out. Check out all these movies. And if you have anything, if you disagree, let me know what your fucking top 10 is. I'm always curious what people like. This is my opinion, and let's hope 2026 is even better. For all these motherfuckers that like to talk shit, that say the cinema is dead, I don't believe it, because every once in a while I see a film that really hits me down deep. And, as long as we have great artists like Paul Thomas Anderson, Wes Anderson, Ryan Coogler, Yorgos Lanthimos, Ethan Coen, and fucking Richard Linklater still making films, and, as long as James Gunn's doing DC, you'll never convince me the cinema's dead. It's going to be alive and kicking until this motherfucker explodes. So, adios 2025. Let's see how 2026 does.